What's poppin' T Squad? It's your girl Keisha, and I'm here with tonight's All Tea All Shade Fargo Season 4 Episode 3 review. Alright, so in tonight's episode, it starts off with the police walking around in the snow. They have the dogs, to sniff out the fugitives, which are Zelmare and Swanee, which is also Zelmare is Ethelrita's aunt and Debrille's sister. So U.S. Marshal Dick Wigare, I think that was his name, Dick Wigare. These names crack me up. AKA Deafy, who's Mormon, very Mormon, goes to see the captain in Missouri about, their whereabouts. He's trying to find them. So he wants the captain to assign him a yes man while he's in pursuit. So the captain assigns the detective that works for Josto. So, this ain't looking too good already off the jump. So he tells Wef, that's the detective that works for Josto, that he needs Zelmare's sister's address ASAP. So then we see Deafy and Wef sit outside Ethelrita's house as they're inside having dinner. So Wef wants to get back to the socialite murder case because, that's more important. That's what Josto wants him on. Like, he ain't got time for this mess that, this fucking U.S. Marshal is on. Deafy is an asshole, and he's a racist, and he's a smart aleck. Him and Wef don't get along at all. So we then see Miss Mayflower skedaddle across the street with that damn poison pie and drops it off at the doorstep. Once she goes back into the house, they all get out the car, and it's multiple police officers with them. And they kick in the door. So Thurman, Ethelrita's daddy, is standing there with the pie like, holy shit, like, what the fuck? So they then go into the kitchen, and we see Ethelrita and her mom, Debrille, standing there, and Deafy asks him, like, what are y'all doing or whatever? She's like, we just cleaned up, sir. So, they was trying to pretend like Debrille and Thurman are not in a relationship. I guess when white people are around, they have to pretend that they just work there in the home and that they're not together, because I think at that time it was still illegal for a black woman or a white man to be married to a black woman, or a black man to be married to a white woman. So Deafy is questioning Debrille about Zelmare's whereabouts. But, she don't give up the tea. That's her sister. She's not going to snitch. Deafy orders the men then to search the house since they didn't want to give up no info because he knows that she's there. So Wef escorts Ethelrita's dad, Thurman, to the basement because, down in the basement is where all the morgue stuff is. So they check in the freezers where they keep the dead bodies. And, he has OCD, so this is just too much for him, because he can't do his little clicking and counting and all of that stuff. So they open the freezers one by one, and they do not find anything but grotesque, decaying dead bodies. So one of the officers throws up because it's just so nasty, and they go back upstairs and tell Deafy that it's clear downstairs, they didn't find nothing. They all rush out because they are all sick to the stomach from seeing those dead bodies. But we find out that Zelmare and Swanee were actually in one of the freezers. I don't know how they hid back there. I don't know what the hell they did. I don't know if there was one of the freezers that they didn't check. I don't know, but their asses was down there. So Deafy continues to question Debrille about Zelmare. And we then see Zelmare and Swanee come up the stairs, and they have the shotgun because they about to kill this goddamn U.S. Marshal, because they like, bitch, we ain't going back to jail. Shit, no. So Ethelrita at the table like, don't you fucking do it. Like, don't, like, no. And I don't know how the hell he didn't see her making googly eyes at her auntie. Like, it was so obvious. So Debrille tells Deafy that if she sees her sister, she gonna wring her neck, because, child, she is so mad that her sister got her caught up in this bullshit. I don't understand why she even letting her sister stay there, do all the shit that she's doing. I don't know if she's afraid of her sister or what, but, like, the sister that came in and caused all types of hell. I would fuck my sister up for bringing that type of attention to my house, negative attention at that. So Deafy believes her and ends up leaving. So once he leaves, Debrille is emotional, like she's about to break down and cry, and Thurman tries to put his hand on her shoulder to calm her down. She's like, just give me a minute, just give me a moment. And so she collects herself and she tells them, to clean up the room. She's about to go check the house for damages because the police come in and ransack your shit and don't give a fuck. And I just felt bad for Debril because this is not her fault. Her sister is the fucked up one, but she needs to tell her sister to get the fuck on somewhere. So Dr. Senator meets with what was the Fadato that recently passed, the mob boss right hand man, about the slaughterhouse takeover. He tells the right hand man that on their last visit that Fadato and Lloyd made an agreement that Lloyd would take over the slaughterhouse. So he then tells the right hand man that deal or no deal, the slaughterhouse is theirs, and that they can call it the cost of transition. Basically, jump if you want to, motherfucker. I don't give a fuck if we made a deal or not. We gonna do what the fuck we want to do. How can you prove it? Do something. So dude was like, all right, I'll pass along the message. Fine by me. So Rabbi and Satchel are talking as he's fixing some electrical stuff or whatever. So Satchel asks why they call him Rabbi, and Rabbi says, do you know anything about poker? He was like, nah. He was like, well, you play the hand you're dealt. You and me are proof of that. And then he goes on to explain that he got traded too, not only once, but twice, but how Satchel actually gets to go back to his family. So Gaetano overhears their conversation and comes in and start fucking with them. And I'm tired of this fat motherfucker. They actually used the actor's real name when I was looking at the credits tonight. His real name is really Gaetano. But he's getting on my goddamn nerves. He's a bully. He's a psycho, and I'm sick of him. So he overhears them talking and asks, Rabbi to repeat himself. What are you talking about, size and trades and this and that? Dude was like, it's nothing. We're about to go on our way. So he tries to go through the door, but it's locked. So Gaetano's like, good, I get to fuck with him some more. So he keeps on, antagonizing them. So Rabbi tells Satchel, like, come on, we're gonna go this way. So they try to go out the door that Gaetano walked in, but Gaetano keep on stopping them before they can walk out. And it's disrespectful if he just walk out on him, so he can't just do that. So Gaetano asks Rabbi about killing his father for their family, asks him how does that feel? And he has a flashback of that moment or whatever, but he just ends up telling Gaetano, who remembers, because he don't want to talk about that, especially in front of Satchel. And like I said to you guys last week, I really feel like Rabbi and Satchel are really going to form an extreme bond. I don't know why I see this ending up with Satchel and Rabbi going off together. I really don't see Satchel ever going back home. I think that he's going to become increasingly mad with his father for the trade off period. Then when this war starts, I really think that's going to, be a case of contention for Satchel. And I really see him and Rabbi leaning on each other. I think that trust might be tested when he finds out about Rabbi having to try to kill Lemuel, but once he clears it up, I think everything will be right. But so Josto walks in and tells Gaetano to get out of his chair because he keep on trying to be the boss of his family, and Josto is. So Josto asks Gaetano that he caused any trouble at the slaughterhouse, and Gaetano say, I take care of things. And so that he was like, motherfucker, that ain't what I asked you, bitch. So Josto says, I'm the boss. And Gaetano says, you can't even take care of this doctor situation. So they going back and forth. Then Satchel ends up sneezing and breaks up the contention. And Josto ends up going off like, why is this little motherfucker even in here? Like, why are y'all in here, period? So Rabbi was like, y'all came here to fix something. He was like, y'all get the fuck out. So they leave. And Josto tells Gaetano, you follow orders or you go home. But Gaetano look at his little brother like, bitch, I'll fold your little ass up. You ain't gonna tell me to do shit. And he even takes their family photo of their place in Italy off the wall and takes it with him. So of course something is going to end up happening between the two brothers. I really feel like at some point Gaetano is going to end up taking Josto out, but we shall see. So Miss Mayflower ends up getting hired at the hospital that Josto and their father got denied access to. So Dr. Harvard hired her, and he's so happy about the hire. He just don't even know he got got a killer on his hands. So Miss Mayflower spots Josto in the parking lot, and she thinks that he's up there for her. She thinks that he's been following her because they keep on running into each other, but really he's there watching Dr. Harvard and shooting at his ass because like he just waiting on the day so he can really kill him. So she gets in the car with him, and he looking like, girl, ain't nobody following you, like the fuck. So she offers him some coke, and you know this cokehead does it, and he takes it, and they just in the parking lot in front of this hospital getting high. And then she decides, hey, no time better than the present for me to jack this man off while singing Yankee Doodle Dandy or whatever the fuck she was singing. But the shit kind of low-key turned my freaky ass on. So of course he ended up coming. She wiped him off and everything, and she was like, you know, give him a kiss goodbye and got out the car. And I was like, this bitch is real life crazy. I'm kind of seeing it for Miss Mayflower. That bitch is me on the same level. So when she gets out the car, he asks her name again. And she was like, oh, silly goose. Like, nigga, you know my name. Like, you've been following me all around. But he literally does not know this bitch's name. So she tells him to call her and ask her out properly instead of basically just continue to stalk her. And he was looking like, you know what, I am, because he actually likes her crazy ass. But remember, he's engaged to be married, so we're going to see how this whole thing play out. You know, that crazy bitch going to probably end up killing his fiance. So Lloyd and his son Lemuel, who I got a thing for. I like the actor that plays Lemuel. It's something about his voice that is very attractive to me. And I like his demeanor on the show. And the rest of their crew are heading to the number spot that they run. And this dude named Dwayne stops Lloyd and asks him for some coins so he gets some coffee. Like, he looked like he was a dope fiend or something, or he was just homeless, but he looked like he was a dope fiend. So Lloyd pulls out a wad of money and he goes on about this speech or whatever. And then he puts the money up to show Lemuel what people will do for money. And he basically tell the dude, Dwayne, to get the fuck out his face and played him in front of everybody. And Dwayne was like, that ain't right. And Lemuel just standing there looking like, that's some fucked up shit you did to him. Like, fronted on him in front of everybody. You flashed all this money in front of him. Like, what was the fucking point? You could tell he was not impressed and he felt bad for that dude. Now, I can see some shit happening where on some New Jack City type shit, that dude end up coming back and shooting Lloyd ass for fronting on him like that. I can really see that happening. So Zelmare and Swanee are casing the numbers joint. Meanwhile, all of this is going on. They are, aren't even noticed because, men never notice women. They take women for granted, and that's just been something that has been happening for the test of time. Like, they was sleeping on these two women sitting across the street, scoping the place out. They weren't even paying attention to that shit while he was sitting up here fronting on the little dope fiend. So Leon tells Lloyd that he got the message he told his son, and that, the other boys that work for him are just muscle. He's smart, like he's steady trying to get put on. So Lloyd then says, one of my sons wants to drop out of community college to play the horn, and he ain't for that shit. So I'm going to assign you to be his driver to keep him on the right path. So Leon is excited because he got bumped up or whatever. But we really get to see in this episode, is Leon really as cold as he says that he is? And so Doc even gives Lloyd some advice about, you might think you on top, but you got to watch the plays that you're making, because she can get out of control in a minute. But Lloyd's just like, shit, we in this right now. It's like, let's go. So the Fadato's right-hand man tells Gaetano what Dr. Senator said about the slaughterhouse. Gaetano suggests they kill them all. But the right hand says, Josto said no killing. They trying to have this truth. They trying not to, cross the line. So the Fadato's right-hand man goes to the restroom. So Gaetano calls Calamita over and tells him he wants to kill someone Lloyd loves and to take Rabbi with him to see how loyal he is to their family. And I was like, see, this brother got to go, because he causing problems that did nobody ask for, sir. Like, take your ass back to Italy, sir, and go eat you some spaghetti or something, like, because you need some pussy or some carbohydrates or something. What the hell is wrong with you? So Calamita barges into Rabbi and Satchel's room and tells him, like, we got some business to do. So Rabbi tells Satchel, if I don't come back, either I'm dead or in jail. and to do his work. Once again, they're building this rapport and this bond with each other. So we then see Calamita and Rabbi sitting outside the community college. So Calamita tells Rabbi that his time is coming. Rabbi was like, what the fuck you mean? Like, we on the same side last time, we're on the same side the last time I checked. So Calamita says, are we? So Rabbi said, you gonna tell me to play? Like, what the fuck is we doing? So Calamita said, you'll put it together once you see. So then Rabbi peeps Lemuel coming out of the school. And he was like, the oldest son? Like, we just gonna scare him, right? Like, cause, he ain't trying to kill dude. Like, cause he know what that's going to do. So Calamita was like, we're gonna scare him, all right. And he pull out his gun. Rabbi said, if we kill him, they'll hang Zero from the nearest tree. And Calamita say, it's not my problem. And I was like, you know what? I knew I didn't like your tall, lanky ass. You got to go too. You and Gaetano. I can't wait till y'all get y'all just due. So they start following Leon and Lemuel. So Calamita says to Rabbi, roll down your window. Rabbi, however, wants to make sure that the order is coming from Josto, because this is going to start a war and nobody wants that. Calamita says, take out your piece. Like, he ain't trying to hear nothing that he got to say. Rabbi asks again, does Josto know? And Calamita tells him, Gaetano said, make it personal. So he realizes, like, no, this is not something that came from the boss. Like, I'm not doing this shit because I'm going to end up getting fucked up and innocent people are going to die. Like, no. So they pull up beside Leon and Lemuel. Meanwhile, they in the car, Leon and Lemuel, listening to bebop, listening to Tutti Frutti, old Rudy or some shit, and they bobbing their head, not even paying attention. Leon bigging himself up, trying to make himself seem like he's so on point, ain't even watching what's going on around him. He don't even peep the car sitting next to him. Leon, you was a dub. You need to get fired. I don't see it for you. You talked all that shit and didn't even back it the fuck up. So they pulled up on side of them, and Rabbi aims the gun, but you could tell he don't want to do it. So finally, Leon is dancing and turns his head, and then he turned his head back, and then he finally looked back like, the fuck? I'm like, nigga, you didn't see the gun facing you the first time? So as soon as he see the gun, he tried to go to speed off, and Calamita was like, shoot him, but Rabbi can't do it. So then Calamita goes to shoot him, and Rabbi stops him. So I think they end up just shooting like the back window as Leon pulls off. And I was like, see, Leon, you need your ass kicked. So they fighting over the gun, Calamita and Rabbi, and Calamita tells him, you're dead. And the Rabbi was like, if I'm dead, motherfucker, you dead, because I'm going to tell Josto that you taking orders from somebody that ain't the motherfucking boss. So they got shit on each other. So he was like, you know what, I'm gonna walk home. So he gets out the car, and the Calamita pulls off because he knows that he's fucked up. So Swanee, we then sees at the table with Ethelrita as she's doing her homework, and she starts to eat that goddamn poison pie. And I was like, ooh, bitch, you about to go through it. So she then asks Debril, is it true that their family is cursed? And she was like, no. And then she ends up telling this sick ass story about her family that scares the shit out of Debril and Ethelrita. Zelmare then comes barging into the kitchen, telling her sister that she borrowing some things. So Debril goes into the bag and sees Thurman's father's gun and bullets and shit. And so she makes Ethelrita leave out the room. Ethelrita's like, I know, child. Like, every time this shit go down, I got to leave the room. Like, I can't hear through these walls. So Debril asks her sister who she's going to rob. And then Thurman comes in and tells them, like, yo, we got to go. Because, they hide out here in these streets. The police is looking for them, so they just can't walk outside. So they have to end up riding in the trunk of the car as Thurman drives. So Zelmare and Swanee are in the trunk, and Swanee is laying on top of Zelmare, and they kiss. I was like, I knew y'all was some scissor sisters. Y'all wasn't fooling me, child. So then Swanee starts to fart, and I was like, bitch, I would have beat her ass. I would have called this goddamn robbery off, because I know it was stinking in that goddamn trunk in that closed off space, and this bitch in her farting and shit because she done ate this poison ass pie. I would have fucked Swanee ass up. So then we see them waiting outside Lloyd's number spot. Swanee sitting on the side of the building, farting and shit. Her stomach is bubbling. Zelmare like, girl, you gonna be able to do this? She was like, yeah, I'm gonna be able to do it. So they walk around the corner and pull up on one of Lloyd's men and hold him at gunpoint. So we then see a shot of the rest of Lloyd's men in the back room counting up money. Zelmare and Swanee then shoot one of the guys and come to the back and hold the others at gunpoint. So Swanee immediately starts throwing up because that pie is working on them guts, bitch. So one of the guys eases his hand under the table while Zelmare isn't looking and puts his hand on the trigger. And so she was like, give me them greenbacks or whatever. He was like, girl, you got a pantyhose on your head. That shit was funny as hell. So Swanee over there going through it, farting and throwing up and shit. She about to shit on herself. She like, girl, we got to go. I got to go. I got to go. So Zelmare then throws the bag at the dude, in which causes him to accidentally shoot the gun. And so then Zelmare then shoots at him. And I couldn't tell if whether he was shot or not. Somebody tell me down below in the comment section, did the dude end up getting shot? Because I couldn't see. So Swanee like, girl, like, please, we got to go, because Zelmare is now standing over the dude like she about to kill him, but she doesn't. So we then see Lemuel telling Lloyd that Calamita and Rabbi is the ones that pulled up on him to try to kill him. So Leon then says they charged up my blind spot, but I handled it. Girl, lies you tell with your puss ass. So Lloyd say, do you get what it means to be in this family? And Lemuel says they weren't shooting at me, they were shooting at you. I was a proxy. And I was like, you better tell it. You better speak a word, baby daddy. So Lloyd say, what's your name? And he was like, my name is Lemuel. He was like, no, what's your name? He was like, Lemuel Cannon. He was like, exactly. These men have their own name. You are me. Basically, you don't get to run free just because you're a Cannon, period. You gonna have beef in the streets. And so Lemuel says, it doesn't matter. I'm a music man. And I was like, okay, you real cocky with it, little dude. So Lloyd says, now you're choosing to be ignorant. Lemuel say, no, you're making the choosing. You can't have both. The more power, more safe. You can't have both. It's less power, more safe, or this. What I choose don't matter. And I really feel sorry for people who are birthed into a crime family, or families that are organized crime or whatever. Because like I got this stigma on me, and it's not even of my doing. It's somebody else's choices in life, and now my life is always going to be in danger because of simply being born and having this name, which is fucked up. And now I have to be in this family organization. I can't be who I want to be and do what I want to do, which is fucked up. So Doc tells Lloyd, 20 G's is what they shotgunned out of her and 3 dead, talking about, the robbery that Zelmare Swanee did. So Lloyd tells Lloyd was like, it wasn't the Italian. They was like, no, it was 2 broads. So Doc said, you got to see the whole picture. I'm saying a coordinated action implies planning. So he was like basically trying to tell him, it could be where, this was planned out, where Rabbi and Calamita was going to pull up on your son and kill him. And then they would have 2 bitches rob our place, but we got to find out. So Lloyd tells them to lock everything down and to put 6 men in front of his house. And Doc was like, already on it. I love Doc. Doc don't leave shit unscathed. So Lloyd wonders, should he then fuck up Zero? So y'all want to fuck up my son, I'm going to fuck up yours. And Doc once again gives him sensible advice that says we need to know who placed the order, the boss or the brother, because once we start shooting back, it's death. So we got to be sure. And then it goes off. And I was like, real talk. I was like, I'm happy that they just didn't buck and start, retaliating without finding out what's what. So another great episode. I really enjoyed it. This week's episode overall, I give it A. I'm really loving this season of Fargo. Can't wait for next week's episode. Let's talk down below in the comment section. Let me know what you're thinking about tonight's episode. Make sure you check out my Tamar Get Your Life review. I have a new behind the scenes tea video on Nene and Monique Samuels. Check out the new Real Housewives of Potomac review. Check out my Power Book 2 Ghost, whatever the title name is, review. And check out my Lovecraft Country review. They're all up right now. I love you guys, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.